will do it.
Okay.
Because, you see, what lacks in Nairobi is services. Look at where the fire engines are here today. You can't get a fire engine with the traffic as it is. Can't get a fire engine. That's why I'm saying, let's secure the city by devolving services and having proper mini city halls in each constituency. We will have services. What Nairobians need are services. If we can get those services, we'll be up and moving.
Okay. Let's look at the issue of traffic.
Yes.
What do you intend to do about traffic in Nairobi?
You know, if we don't do anything in this city, we'll grind to a halt.
I think we're almost ground to a halt. There are times you can spend 3 hours in traffic.
You know, as I said, I always feel for our kids and our parents who have to wake up 4 in the morning. And for some of you who work very early, who, if you have to report here at 6, you have to leave your house at 5. It doesn't make sense. We have bigger cities in the world with bigger populations and more vehicles than Nairobi. And movement is eased off, right? I've said in our plan, we have 16 roundabouts around the city that we need to do something about to just ease traffic. But that is only a short-term solution. The mid to long-term solution is to have a light rail that can ferry people to the city. But in the short term, in the next 18 months, 16 roundabouts, we need to do either small tunnel or overpasses.
And would that be feasible in the 5 years that you would be governor?
I've said in 18 months.
In 18 months.
There are 6 on Uhuru Highway.
And how would you fund that?
It's not a big thing. There are 3 lanes on each roundabout and another 3. You bring 2 down. The issue of funding, Kidero's administration has collected or been allocated 100 billion in 4 years. That translates to 69 million a day. Done nothing with it. And he admitted it in a debate. He said he has spent most of it, 92%, on salaries and recurrent. He had nothing for development. What a waste.
And you
what
see,
a waste.
If you take up that docket, then you would be taking up already what is currently running. So those salaries would still be there. So are you saying you would get rid of some of the staff? How exactly would you fund this?
You know, when you take over a company and you run it as an entity, you look at your income, you look at your expenses, and you decide there are certain expenses you can make a profit center out of. There are certain luxuries you can forego. To do those 6 roundabouts, each roundabout would cost less than 200 million. Just to have 2 lanes go under on one side and 2, and make Uhuru Highway an expressway. It is our beltway in the city. You need to allow vehicles to flow. Look at City Stadium roundabout. You can do an interchange. Look at Pangani, Mlango Kubwa, Juja Road. You can do an interchange, and you will not have a back pile of vehicles. We will ease in 18 months. There will be a few disruptions here as we do it, but we will ease traffic.
So according to you, in 18 months, you'll be able to get the funding and be able to do the tunneling and have that done. What about the issue?
And there are many agencies all over the world, and we have connections. We can talk to them. There are many donors who would like to assist. Look at the small ring road in Kilimani, Kileleshwa. JICA did it, right? I still know that at the riverside, Kileleshwa junction, we could have had an underpass so that you clear that junction. It's very simple to just approach JICA and say, can we go under as you go to Westlands? They'll do it.
Okay, the issue of parking within the city, the CBD?
You know, again, poor planning. You allow buildings to come up without adequate parking. You have empty spaces. You could do parkings. Look, this Central Park here. Look at Jivanji. What can you do under? And create parking, affordable parking. You can do it.
All these sound like very good grand plans, but still not convinced that the money to...
They are not grand plans. You know, you can do a PPP on parking, public-private initiative. You can do it because it will pay back itself. You go to Hyde Park in London, there are lots of car park down there, right? Built by private entities and retain the park at the top so that people can park. You can ease. It's just good ideas and somebody who can implement. We are not reinventing the wheel. We are doing what other cities have done
before.
Yes.
All right. The other issue we have in Nairobi is housing and informal settlements. Your plan for that?
It's not a short-term plan, and it cannot be a short-term plan. It's actually a medium to long-term plan. And there lies the greatest opportunity for our city. Because of the way we built the old houses, there was lots of space. And I keep giving a very good example of Kaloleni Estate, which is 900 acres with 900 houses. You could actually build flats on 5 acres and house those 900 homes. And you'd be left with 895 acres, which means you can build more flats and bring people who are in informal settlement to live there.
And would these be county funded flats or private entities?
You know, as I said, therein lies the greatest opportunity. You can imagine if you have housed the 900 people on 5 acres, you'll be left with 895 acres. Even if you are to sell 100 acres, for example, you'd build more homes. And you could go to any city council estate and find the same opportunity coming back like Kaloleni.
So your plan for housing would now be to build flats on smaller parcels of land and sell the excess?
No. You know, Nairobi has a serious shortage of houses, so it has to go into partnership. You have to source funds. You have to create bonds to build homes. What I would not want to do is to kill the spirit of those guys who have lived in those estates. They must get first priority. And in fact, as custodians of the bigger chunks of land, you could build low-cost flats and give them free of charge, right? Because they are then releasing lots of land. You could do that in Madaraka, you could do that in Kaloleni, you could do that in Makongeni, Mbotela, Ofafa, Maringo, Jericho, Jerusalem, Bahati, Ziwani. You have lots of property. And as you know, cost of property in this country is very high. Therein, with good planning, lies a very good opportunity to recreate our city and create homes and move people who are along the riverbeds or reserve land into good housing schemes.
Drainage, we also have issues with the drainage system. Every time it rains, Nairobi floods.
Again, a very sad thing. You know, we were told not so long ago by the governor that when these rains come in, there will be no flooding. You saw what we saw, right? Again, does not create any investment. Declogging is not enough. You have to create good drainage, which means you have to dig deeper into a drainage rather than the 1-2 feet. You have to do like 1.5 meters to allow the flow and have permanent people. In our plan of devolving further, we would like revenues collected in those constituencies retained there so that we can have a fund to provide permanent employment to work on drainage, walking pavements, and roads, right? You imagine we are talking of drainage here only in the CBD and probably just outside the CBD. In most estates in Nairobi, you don't have drainage at all. Actually, sewer and drainage are non-existent. This is why we are having outbreaks, because now the little water pipelines that go get connected, or you know, that water gets contaminated with sewer and drainage.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm told that we are out of time, so I'd like you to just look at that camera right there and let the residents of Nairobi know why they should vote for you, Peter Kenneth.
I think first, Nairobi is too important a city, controlling over 50% of the GDP. it should not just be left to hands that will not work for it. As I said, I have integrity, I have passion, I have energy to transform the city of Nairobi. And I would like Nairobians to take this issue very, very seriously because it affects each one of us. I have walked to 72 wards. I have seen the pain that Nairobians continue to endure on a daily basis. And I've come to a conclusion that each Nairobian needs to evaluate us like a parent. They need to look at us and say, if I had a 4-year-old child and I had to rush to town for an emergency, who can I entrust that child with?
All right.
Either senator or governor or PK. Once you make that decision, translate Nairobi into a sick child and see who is best suited to look after a sick child.
Thank you very much, Peter Kenneth, for joining us this morning. And that's where we wind up Morning Express this morning. And wish you all a wonderful and a productive day. Do stay with us right here on KTN News. We've got Worldview.